This is Frontline.
The public's impatience for big gains is so great that many people have taken investing into their own hands. The internet is crowded with hot stock tips, financial chat rooms, and lots of so-called advice.
Here they are.
One of the most popular sites on the net is an online investing forum called the Motley Fool. Its founders, two brothers named Dave and Tom Gardner, claim that if their subscribers invest their money the Motley Fool way, they can count on 20% growth in their portfolios per year, guaranteed.
We've identified a couple mechanical investment approaches which can be used by anybody, take only about 30 minutes a year, and for more than 25 years have returned that 20%. And we don't see any big change in the next 25 years. So when we teach that approach, we're teaching people financial self-reliance.
The Motley Fool is based in a townhouse in Alexandria, Virginia, and staffed by 20-somethings who, like the Gardner brothers, are true believers in the market. They lead their 250,000 subscribers in a vigorous hunt for the next big winner.
Microsoft 10 years ago had you bought it, not traded it with your broker recommending that you trade it, not in a mutual fund where it would have been diluted by 60 other stocks. Had you bought it, it's grown at 60% a year. So $10,000 is worth $1 million 10 years later.
The problem is, how do you know which of the thousands of hot stocks out there are going to turn out to be the next Microsoft? That's the hard part. And it's something Motley Fool subscribers found out the hard way. The company was called Iomega. In early 1995, it came out with a jazzy new computer device called the Zip Drive. Motley Fool subscribers fell in love with the product and started an online bulletin board devoted exclusively to Iomega. In this electronic hothouse, the stock caught fire.
And so we bought the stock at 2.5, added it to our online portfolio, and over the course of the next year and a half, it ran up as high as 55.
When the stock was at 55, our $5,000 investment, think about it, was worth over $100,000.
As the stock attracted more and more attention, the Motley Fool chat board became a frenzied, giddy place. The more Iomega went up, the more of their livelihoods people poured into the stock. By 1996, the Iomega phenomenon had spread well beyond the internet. Last summer, at a Charles Schwab office in San Francisco, people were talking about little else.
Iomega was the talk of the town, so to speak, on the stock market. And I would read about it, and I would see that it would rise incredible amounts in a day.
I bought it at 24, and it went up to 80, and it split. And after it split, it went back to 54.
The next morning, I woke up and called up the broker, and it was at 55. And I was like, this is kind of silly, but it's great, you know.
Iomega is 19 million. Look at that.
But what had the company done to deserve this kind of run-up? Not much. It was a 3-product company with profits of only $14 million. But at the peak of the frenzy, Iomega's stock was worth over $5.5 billion.
Stock prices going up caused people who would not have dreamt of buying them when they were down to go out and buy them, because after all, they will continue to go up. And the manifestation of this psychology in the marketplace has been an extraordinary array of overpriced specimens, companies that changed hands at 600 times the sum of money they can expect to earn this year. Literally things that are seen once, twice, or 3 times in an entire investment lifetime have come to pass in 1996. It has been a living museum of speculation.
In Iomega's case, it was a bubble that was destined to burst, and eventually it did.
And I watched it go from 55 to 54 to 53 to 52 to 51 to all the way down to like 48. And I go, I sold at that point.
And I put in a stop and sold it at 40, 43.
So, and the yearly high is 55 and an eighth, and it's down now to 23?
Right. Iomega's been dropping like a rock for a good week or 2 weeks.
And the Motley Fool boards were full of howls of pain. Show us Iomega here.
Okay. Now, this has been a very severe correction for
look at
Iomega.
that.
The real hype, Motley Fool hype, was right around here. It was a good horse, but it was just a horse, and you had to get off it. And there are other horses out there. Try to pick a horse that's not a sprinter. Try to pick one that's going to be around.
The stock got ahead of itself, as often will happen with great growth companies, we think. And so somebody could have bought the stock at 55 and seen his investment melt down to about 21 today. Now, at the same time, many other people bought at 2 and 5 and 10 and 15 and 20 and may have sold at 48, for all we know.
In Japan, they had a name for this. They called them the Shinjinri, and it literally meant new human being. They were the 20-something-year-old people who had had no experience in the market, who were put in charge of all the investing. And they thought that nothing would ever go wrong.
The Japanese stock market, which had been the wonder of the 80s, crashed in 1989, and it's never recovered. Even today, the Japanese market is just over half what it once was. And once euphoric Japanese investors now feel burned.
I find it somewhat ironic that here we are, 7 years after that bubble burst, the Japanese are still trying to pick up the pieces. At that moment in time, we are doing many of the very same things. People are buying stocks for one reason. They are going up.
I have 2 kids I want to put through college, and I figure this is the best way I'm going to be able to double my money.
Necessity is the mother of invention, so I've heard. And I have a wife and 4 kids. I'm a policeman in the city here, and I figured I needed to make some more money.
Why not just put it in the bank?
Well, the bank only pays you 3%, and it makes you feel like you're not gaining ground, and the stock market's faster.
People have confused need with certainty. We need this to work. It seems like it will, therefore it will. That's a little bit like going to the track and betting on number 3 and saying, God, I really need this horse to come in for me. Well, just because you need it to come in doesn't mean that it will.
It's funny that people are motivated by anxiety to take a risk. You'd think that anxiety would make them risk averse.
Let's go. Time to go home. Come on.
Sharon eventually sold Microsoft. The next time we caught up with her, she and Russ had put their life savings into 2 tiny, volatile technology stocks. Why?
Because we're working very hard and not furthering ourselves. It's too slow. We have got to do something aggressive.
It is scary, but, you know, I guess, at this point, she just wants to, Sharon, well, actually, she took a little more and just invested recently that was very conservative, and she kind of went and did something that I think we'll make out on, as long as the market doesn't crash. But yeah, right now just about everything's in there.
What'd she do?
She went and invested in a stock that she was told was going to do very well.
To tell you the truth, I don't even know the name of it. I know the call letters are AMLN. It's supposed to double by August.
Do you worry about your future financially?
Oh, yeah. All the time. That's why we're trying to do something. That's what I'm saying. There's really nothing to depend on except yourself, so yeah, we worry about it.
The money that people used to put in the stock market was money that they hoped to get rich on or get play with or maybe finance a trip to Europe or something. What's going on today is blood money. With jobs less secure and with really the wonderful corporate pension fund that promised you a pension of X% of your final salary when you're retired, with that no longer as important and taking care of a smaller and smaller proportion, This is blood money that's in there.